memory always starts with the smell of stale chips and the electric static of a tube television. It is January 1985, Super Bowl Sunday, and the living room has transformed into a war zone of screaming adults. My father is on his knees, praying to a God he only ever speaks to during the fourth quarter. I am sitting in the far corner, holding a comic book, feeling completely invisible in the chaos. While they are dying 1,000 emotional deaths over a fumble, I am just wondering when the pizza is coming. That was the first time I realized I was speaking a different language than the people who made me. For thousands of years, survival meant screaming when the tribe screamed and weeping when the tribe wept. If you did not paint your face and join the chant, the predators would eventually find you alone. We call them sports fans now, but really, they are just ancient tribes wearing significantly better merchandise. When my uncle hugged a complete stranger because the Bears scored, his brain was flooded with oxytocin. It is the same powerful chemical that bonds a mother to her newborn child, which is terrifyingly beautiful. His brain literally tricked him into believing that millionaire linebacker was his blood brother and his protector. But as I watched them, I did not feel that warm, magnetic pull of the crowd. I felt like an anthropologist dropped onto an alien planet, taking notes on a strange and loud ritual. They say 60% of Americans follow sports religiously, and for a kid, that is a lonely statistic. You learn to fake it, to nod when they talk about the draft, just to pass as one of them. But deep down, there is this quiet, nagging fear that maybe something inside you is actually broken. It turns out that silence in your head while everyone else is screaming is not a defect. Neuroscience suggests that your brain is actually wired for a completely different kind of survival. While they are hunting for the win, you are building a fortress of solitude they cannot even see. Fast forward 30 years, and the playground has just become the office break room on a Monday morning. You stand there while colleagues relive the game, realizing your indifference is actually a form of independence. People who don't follow the herd tend to have what psychologists call lower tribal instincts. You are the person who walks a distinct path, not because you are lost, but because you don't need a map. Research shows that while fans are stuck in us versus them thinking, you are operating on a broader frequency. You don't need to wear the same color shirt as 10,000 other people to know exactly who you are. But watch your friend's face during the penalty kick. Really look at the tension in their eyes. That tightness in their jaw, that shallow breathing, is a dopamine slot machine loading up for the payoff. Their brain is lighting up exactly like a gambler waiting for the roulette wheel to finally stop spinning. It is constant, intermittent reinforcement, the most addictive reward pattern known to human psychology. They are addicted to the uncertainty, hooked on the terrifying possibility that they might actually lose. And here is the part nobody talks about, the secret engine driving the whole machine. Your brain simply refuses to be tricked into thinking a stranger's victory is your own success. When the team wins, the fan screams, "We won," merging their soul with a corporate franchise. Psychologists call this basking in reflected glory, a shiny shield against their own quiet insecurities. But you do not have that shield, and you realized long ago that you never wanted to carry it. Your self-esteem is a house you built yourself, brick by brick, not a tent you rented for the season. You don't need the external validation of a trophy you didn't lift to feel like a champion today. This resilience might be written into your DNA, a genetic refusal to hand over your happiness to chance. While they ride the emotional roller coaster of a season, you are standing on solid ground, watching it spin. There is a strange contradiction here, because sports fans are often deeply empathetic people. They will weep real tears for a stranger in a jersey who just tore an ACL. But your lack of tears for the quarterback does not mean your heart is cold or empty. It is simply a matter of empathy allocation, a rigorous budgeting of your emotional currency. We all wake up with a limited amount of care to give before the sun goes down. While they pour their reserves into the stadium, you are quietly channeling yours into the studio or the garden. Research confirms that people indifferent to sports often score significantly higher in openness to experience. You are likely chasing your dopamine hits in the complex harmony of a song or the brushstroke of a painting. You are seeking the exact same transcendence they feel. You just find it in creation rather than observation. Your brain lights up with beauty and ideas, the way their brains light up for touchdowns and penalties. But let's be honest, sometimes this indifference is actually a scar we learn to cover up. Maybe you were the kid picked last in gym class, standing awkwardly while captains argued over who had to take you. Maybe you felt the sharp edge of exclusion when you didn't understand the rules everyone else seemed to know by instinct. For some of us, not caring became a necessary shield against a culture that demanded physical dominance. You learned to reject the game before the game had a chance to reject you first. Or perhaps you just looked at the screaming adults and decided that their version of joy looked too much like anger. Both paths are valid, but they lead to two completely different ways of making sense of the world. The fan loves the narrative because it is a story written in real time with genuine, heartbreaking stakes. They love the comeback and the underdog because it mimics the drama of life without the actual consequences. But you look at that chaos and see only randomness, a noisy lottery that has nothing to do with you. You ask yourself why you would emotionally invest in an outcome performed by people you will never meet. It is a question of investment. You simply prefer a guaranteed return on your limited emotional capital. Researchers call fandom a parasocial relationship, a one-way street where only one side knows the other exists. You prefer the messy, difficult, rewarding work of reciprocal relationships where you can actually affect the outcome. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi found that flow states are the true secret to a meaningful life. Your neighbor finds flow in the bottom of the night, but you find it in the workshop. There is something quietly radical about a person who refuses to live vicariously through others. You are not spending 3 hours every Sunday watching someone else struggle to achieve their dreams. You are spending those hours struggling to achieve your own, and that is a powerful difference. So if you don't care about the Super Bowl, you are not missing out on being human. Your reward system, your empathy, your tribal instincts are just calibrated for a different frequency. The next time someone looks at you with pity because you missed the big play, remember this. You are not broken, you are not boring, and you are certainly not alone in this. You are simply playing a different game, one where you are the athlete, not the spectator. In your game, the stakes are real. The sweat is yours, and the victory actually belongs to you. If this resonates, you might be interested in how your brain processes silence compared to the crowd. Quiet people often hold a distinct advantage in a noisy world that they rarely get credit for. Click this video to discover why your ability to tune out the noise is your greatest superpower. Stop apologizing for your wiring and start understanding the immense strength of your own unique signal. The game is on, but this time you are finally the one holding the ball.